Welcome back, everybody. Silas here out of the farm once again. If you watched the previous one, you already know what's up. There's those 3 metal grain silos. We're gonna tear those down. I'm not sure if we'll get to those today. Right now I need to get this dumpster over here loaded. I've got a little bit of iron out there in the field, and then I've got a little bit of iron over here, and I got one more piece somewhere else. I can't remember where I put it, but I'm gonna try to fit all of that into that dumpster. Once I get that done, I'm gonna load this truck here up on my trailer, and if I have enough time when we get back, we're gonna knock over one of those buildings, but we're not gonna knock over all those buildings because tomorrow I wanna bring the drone back out here. That way I can get some aerial footage of those things falling over. But we'll go check those out here in a little bit, show you what's up. Right now, let's get this loaded. There it is, the last dumpster load of junk off of this farm. Fit in there pretty good. I was a little bit worried there for a second, but it went ahead and cooperated and crushed down pretty good. It's a little over the top, but this is a short dumpster, so not a big deal. There's nothing gonna blow out of there. I think anyway, I can get all of this stuff in one load. I don't know, it's gonna be pushing it. I still have the bucket for the loader, although the bucket I can take back with the loader. I have one big horse trough over yonder that's full of stuff that I'm keeping. This place looks so much different. If you didn't watch the original video of me walking around this place, you ought to check that out. This was all iron. And actually, if you check out the second channel, I did a quick walk around video of this place, and in that video, this was all sunflowers growing out here. All that was iron, all that back there was equipment. All this through here was equipment everywhere. Up in those trees over there, there was a whole bunch of equipment, more iron, tin, you name it. There was stuff everywhere out here. Now all that's left is a little bit of trash, which there's nothing I can do with that. They're gonna let that go with the property, and then there's a few tires, but once again, I can't do anything with those. I piled some of the tree brush and whatnot over here in this area because this is where they used to burn at, but the way I take it, they're not even going to bother doing that again. They're just going to sell the property as is, where it is. There is one piece left down there in that tree, but it's a small piece, and that's a big tree, and it's wrapped around that good. There's really no way of getting that out of there, so that stays with the farm. But here's the buildings. I got to open the gate real quick, and we'll go in there and check them out. There was a couple old trucks in here. There was a tractor in here, some farm equipment. Up there around that tree and over there by that tree was tons of stuff. There was an old water tank, water tower over by the house we got out of here. And then over here by the building, all the way around it, there was another tractor and a whole bunch of iron. And then the inside of the building, we got like, I don't remember now, it was like 15 tons, 16 tons of just miscellaneous stuff that was inside that building that had been saved for various reasons, and a bunch of cool stuff. There was junk scattered through here a little bit. It's been a busy cleanup, that's for sure. But yeah, here's the buildings. I'm gonna see how tall these buildings are real quick. I tried to sell them once, but I couldn't get any interest. Trying to get my phone to go here. Okay, there we go. iPhones have this handy dandy measure feature, and so you just go like that, and then you can go up like this. And so it's only about 15 feet high, somewhere in there. I don't know, it's kind of glitching out a little bit, but it looks like Looks like about 14 or 15 feet. And that's not counting the roof. The roof will be more than that, but the roof will fold in or out or whatever I need to do. If I could wad these buildings up and really mangle them up small to where I could get all three in one dumpster, that would be really, really cool. I don't have any idea if that'll work. If I had the excavator, I know I could do it, but with just this loader, I don't know, it's gonna be debatable. This thing has a lot of power, but just not as much power as the excavator. And excuse the wind, it is windy, windy, windy. It's Kansas, it's always windy, but it's taking it up a notch today. It wasn't this bad this morning, but it has gone through the roof. We'll start down here at this one and we'll just kind of look in these and look them over, make sure everything's ready to go. What holds these buildings in place is they have these clamps down here at the bottom. But as you can see, all these clamps are undone. So I think it's just the weight of the building is all that's holding it. We'll hop in here real quick, check it out. Little bit of junk in here, not much. I think these are full of grain. I had a guy come to look at buying these buildings like I was saying a second ago, but these have a plastic cap up at the top of them, and he found all the caps, but they're all broken. And he said without those caps that these buildings, something about the roof is never structurally sound, which I guess, yeah, you can kind of see it flexing in the wind. And he sells these to people to make gazebos and just different things out of. And so he said without those caps, they're really, really hard to work. And I don't know, he might have just been making excuses. But anyway, he said he didn't want to mess with them. And I had a few other people want them. Nobody showed up. A bunch of people wanted me to take them down and then they would buy them, but I'm not going through here and pulling all these bolts out. No way, no how. That would, if I charged them by the hour to do that, man, they'd have to pay a fortune. They could just go buy new buildings. They're a little bit on the rusty side on the bottom, but a guy could, eliminate the entire bottom off of all these, and from here up, you'd still have, 10-foot sides plus the roof. But I did try. That's why I waited till the very last thing to tear these things down, because I was sure hoping somebody would buy them. They're so cool, but nobody did. I'm curious how wide they are. Let's see here. Looks like this says the widest I can get it to be is about 17 feet, give or take. So if I get these things to fold roughly in half, you say 18 feet just to be safe, that'd be 9 feet wide. Yeah, it's pushing it. I don't know if I can get these in the dumpster or not, unless they fold up easier than I think, but this is some pretty thick steel. This isn't just lightweight tin. These are thick walls. Now, the roof on these things is pretty lightweight. It's not nearly as structurally sound. I think it might be the same gauge, but it's just flat tin, whereas these here have all the ribs, so they're just a lot tougher. Now the bottom, I know this will wad up no problem because it's so rusty, but all of these nice ones here, I don't think there's any way I'm going to be able to wad those up small enough to fit in the dumpster, but we will give it a try. Now this second building, it does still have some of the clamps around it, and they're all covered in tar, and so it might give me a little bit of a fit. I think this one's empty. Yeah, this one's empty in here. The bottom on this one's in a lot better condition, not as much rust, but I think if I can get them down to 9 feet wide, I can put them on my trailer, take them out to the yard, and I can crush them in the crusher, and that's got plenty of power. That'll wad these up into nothing, and then I can crush them on top of cars and ship them in that way. And then this one here is probably the worst one, honestly. It's pretty rusty all the way around on the bottom. I forgot about having this little bit of junk in there, but I do still have a little bit of room in the dumpster that's out front, so like these here, I can probably smash those in. It's a long ways to carry them all the way over there just to put them in the dumpster, but I mean, probably spend more on fuel, but I'll get it cleaned up. I still have a set of steps and that horse trough and one more small thing laying around over here somewhere I got to gather up and throw on my trailer. I might be able to get, well, the horse trough won't fit on this load, but the other stuff might fit on this load here today. But you know what? Rather than do anything else, I think I'm going to come in here and go ahead and knock this building over, just see what happens. Like I say, I'll probably wait till tomorrow to do the other two, just so I can get some good, cool drone shots of being up in the air. I might bring my other camera. You guys know I broke my camera a while back. I got the replacement in the mail finally, so I can have two cameras set up plus the drone, so I can get quite a few different angles of those. But this will be today's experiment. That way I know if I need to bring any tools for tomorrow or anything different. And I'll also be able to figure out if they'll wad up good enough to fit in the dumpsters. Because I'm getting ready to call them now and tell them that that dumpster's full and I don't need another dumpster. But if I can wad this building up, I'll tell them to go ahead and bring one more dumpster. Oh yeah, didn't even hesitate. There was a couple little things kind of held on for a second, but they ripped right out because of the rust, and over she went. This is kind of cool in here. I'm standing here now. This thing's so big in here, way up in the sky. Huh. Well, I'm trying to figure out what to do next on this. I probably shouldn't be standing in here, but here I am. I think the body of this is going to wad up nice. I think the only structural integrity holding it from collapsing is this roof. And so I'm wondering if maybe I can get the roof to rip off maybe, or collapse or something. I don't know. I'm going to drive the loader around and I'm going to poke on it for a little bit. I just got to find a good camera angle where you guys can see what I'm doing. I'll try a few different things and kind of, this is the guinea pig for the day. Once I get this one done, I'll know exactly what to do on the other two. Tell you what, if I had the excavator here, I know I could rip these things apart and pack all three of them into one dumpster, no problem at all. They're a lot flimsier than I thought they were going to be. What I'm doing now is I'm going to take this somewhere where I have a good sized tree that I can push it up against. I think if I can just kind of smash it against the tree, I can get it to go quite a bit flatter. If you're wondering what that noise is, it's always going on inside this loader, right? That one right there, that's the brakes on this. They're always having to build up pressure. Man, this windshield's filthy when that sun shines on it. Got to find me a good tree that'll work, that doesn't matter if I tear the tree up. I think that one right there will be a good victim. Out there in the middle of the field, there's actually two trees there, and they're hedge trees, so they're pretty stout. So that's the ones I'm going to use. But before I do that, I think I'm going to go ahead and smash this side of the thing flat. That way I can maybe fold it in half again, or fold it in thirds or something. I don't know. We're still experimenting at this point. we are. Looks like it is wadded up as good as I'm going to get it. I had an idea, instead of rolling it this way against the grain, I would go with, or the, I don't know what you would call it exactly, but how the ribs were all running this way, I figured I'd roll it up that way. It's less resistance, I thought, in my head, and actually it folded up pretty good. It's not that wide. Width-wise, this would go ahead and fit in the dumpster, and height-wise, it would be okay too. I could get all three of them stacked up, but now the problem I have is that it's too long. This is about 25 feet long, and these dumpsters are only about 20 feet. A couple of the ones they bring me are about 21 feet. So by the time I wad the end in, it's going to be taller, and so I'd only end up getting about 2 of these in the dumpster, and that's just not going to be enough weight. So I had an idea in my head. I thought about going ahead and just wad the other 2 up just like this. I could stack all 3 of them on my trailer pretty easy, just stack them up 3 high, and then I could haul them into the claw. Now, I haven't been to the claw, and I couldn't tell you the last time I was there. It's been a long time since I was down there. Their corporate side is just so hard to deal with. They make the weirdest decisions. They don't call us. They refuse to deal with us. And then just random Joe Blows with, 1,000 pounds of tin will call them up, and they'll offer to pay them more than what they want to pay us. And it's just a weird situation. I think right now they said they would give us like $15 over street price for stuff, which is quite a bit less than I'm getting in these dumpsters. But at the same time, if I haul this back to the yard and try to fit it in the crusher, it's not going to fit in the crusher. I'm going to have to roll it again. And I don't know, maybe I could do that. Maybe that's what we'll do. I thought about hauling them to the claw, but I don't know. So many decisions to make, and it's so hard to decide. Part of me is like, just for the sake of time, just haul it to the claw and be done with it. We make less money, but oh well. But at the same time, I kind of don't want to send them any business until they straighten their act up. You guys know, on this channel, I used to haul in tons of cars over there. I mean, we shipped them thousands of tons of material. But then all of a sudden, one day, they went wackadoodle, and then they sold out, and now they sold out again. And so, yeah, now the more that I think about it, I think, no, I'm not going to haul it into the claw. I'm just going to go ahead, wad all 3 buildings up just like this. Once I get them all nice and flat, they're about, like I say, about 25 feet. I can stack all 3 of them on my trailer, or I could put 2 on my trailer and then put the 3rd one on the next load and put the bucket up on top of it just for safety's sake. Then I can haul them into the yard. I can go ahead, once they're at the yard, I can go ahead and put them up against something and go ahead and roll the end of it up a little bit, or smash the end in. Then I can put it in the crusher, smash it flat and roll it up. And I mean, all 3 of these buildings will disappear into nothing once I put them in the crusher. If I had more heavy iron, I kind of wish now in hindsight I would have done these first, because all that heavy iron that I shipped in before, I could have put 1 of these in the bottom of a dumpster and then dumped a bunch of heavy iron on top of it, and I would have had plenty of weight. Instead, I put all my heavy iron that was in that building over there into 2 dumpsters, and yeah, I had some 9-ton dumpsters, but I could have taken out, split that iron in half and put 1 of these in there and still had 7-ton dumpsters. But oh well. Yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna do. What time is it? Where's my phone at? It's 3 o'clock now, so I'm kind of pushing it on time as far as loading up a load, hauling it in, and then coming back for another load. So I don't have enough time for that, but I don't want to waste the day either. So I think I don't have my drone or anything with me, but I think I'm going to go ahead and knock over 1 more building, and I'll save the 3rd one for tomorrow when I have the drone. I'm going to endeavor to get a point of view shot on this one here. I already broke it loose down at the bottom, as you can see, but I'm trying to figure out which way to roll this one, because I can't go that way, I can't go that way, and I can't go that way. So I want to try to hook under it, snag it, pull it backwards off of the platform, and then roll it over and then drag it on out. That's the idea anyway. We'll see how well that works here in just a second. Got the forks in there. Let's see here, will it pull this way, or is it just going to stretch out? There it goes. Took it a second. And it's snagged. There it went. Okay, good. If I can just pull it this way a little bit further, we can go ahead and flip it on over. There we go. That'll work. And here it is, big boom. That is so cool. I've never got to do this before. My dad has watered up a million old buildings way back in the day, and a lot of times he'd actually take them apart, stack them on the trailer, and then haul them in for scrap. Back in the days before we had heavy equipment, all we had was trucks and trailers. That was back when I was a little kid. I don't remember those days. I'm going to do this one a little bit different now that I know what I'm doing a little bit better. I'm going to just try to smash it flat all the way. That last one I kind of mangled it a little bit in the process because I thought I was going to roll it up the other way. There we go. Nice and flat. Let's see, what are we going to do here? Yeah, that'll work. Crunchy, crunchy. If I had the excavator, I could actually drive up on top of it and smash it even flatter, but one little jagged piece of metal tear these tires up big time. Yeah, so far so good. Let's see here. Okay, let's put the forks right here. Just try to whittle away at it little by little. Yeah, there we go. That's looking a lot better so far. I'm glad they got the goats out of here. When I first started out here, this was full of goats. And I always had to keep the gate closed behind me, but they took them out about halfway through. Those would make good drain stations. I could put a rack in the middle of each one of them to set cars on to drain the fluids out of them and whatnot. Like a pancake. I just pushed on that one time and it just completely collapsed instantly. See if I can roll this roof over a little bit. I probably could have just taken the roofs completely off, but they kind of fall apart. So I'd rather wad it up inside the rest of the building, keep it all together, makes it a little bit cleaner to haul home. But this one's definitely going a lot easier than the last one now that I know what I'm doing. There we go. Okay, now I can go around to the other side, grab it. I think I can take it out to my tree, and if I just fold it over one more time in the middle, I think it'll be fine. It's looking pretty good. Yeah, I think just if I can get it to fold over one more time, we'll be golden. The only thing that worries me a little bit is how it kind of folded this way a little bit there at the top. That's why I should have drove around and smashed the roof first, and then, or maybe shove the roof. Maybe that's what I'll do on the next one, is just kind of knock it over, bulldoze the roof inside it, and then fold it up. That's what I should have done. By the time I get done with these, I'll be an expert. Well, that was unexpected. It fell off the forks and kind of flopped over like this, rolled over on me, and kind of unfolded itself. Let's see. Maybe I can smush it back down a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Okay. It was too wide. I thought I had it, but then I didn't have it. It looked so good a minute ago. Now it looks ugly again. That's okay. Nothing a little bit of smushing won't fix. See if I can pick it up this time. Man, still can't pick it up. There we go. Okay, now we got her. Now we'll take it out to the tree and do a little bit of mangling. Well, I definitely messed up on that roof. Definitely should have done something different on that roof before I started. My trailer's 102 inches wide, 8.5 foot wide, or something like that. I can't remember now. However wide a semi is. Is it 96 inches or 102? I can't remember. 96 is 8 foot, so 102 is 8.5 foot. So if I can get it down to, anything under 9 feet, I'll be golden. There we go. I think this is a little bit wide, but since I'm going to be taking them back and crushing them anyway, I'm not too worried about that. Like I say, as long as I get them underneath that 9 feet. But sometimes you just get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Yeah, it's a little bit on the iffy side. Just looking at this right here. Let's see here. Well, that bottom one's definitely narrower than the top one, and I think it'll fit. So yeah, I think we're good just like that. I'll put those on the trailer, and I'll throw some chains over them, and I'll push down on them a little bit to get some of the slack out of them. put some boomers down on them, throw a couple straps for good measure just for security, and haul it in. It didn't take long. The first one took me about 15 minutes to get it done. The second one I have, probably about 10 minutes. Well, that's the wad up time. That's not counting the knock it over time. So you could say 20 minutes and 15 minutes. So I have, 35 minutes invested in both of these buildings. And part of that was because I was filming while I was driving and stuff like that. I could have knocked them down a lot faster if I was just doing it. Okay, got it all strapped down. I'm headed home for the day. I'll see you guys out there in the morning, get this unloaded, get right back out here, tear down another building. Whoo-wee! It is cold today. Well, it's not that cold. It's going to get way colder, but comparison from yesterday to today, it dropped a ton. We're sitting in the low 20s right now, and yesterday when I got home, it was like 58 degrees. But I kind of like it. I wasn't enjoying that spring weather. I mean, I like working in it just because I wasn't freezing and I wasn't sweating. But at the same time, it was throwing my brain for a loop, and my brain kept telling me that it's springtime, time to go mushroom hunting, time to go do this, time to go do that. But we're nowhere near that yet. As of filming this anyway, I have no clue when this video will come out. But I'm here at the yard, everything rode just fine. Not a bit of an issue, all the straps stayed tight, so I'm gonna get all of this off of here. And my buddy Skyler messaged me and he says, hey, I'm off work tomorrow. Do you need help? And I said, you bet, that will make my life awesome. If I can have just somebody to help haul one load out of there, then I know I can get everything. So we will be done with the farm cleanup today, unless something catastrophic happens. Yeah, that's the best one of all of them. That folded right up, no problem. I wish I would have done that on the very first one. I got a flat tire on the back of the loader. I don't know, it wasn't like that yesterday, so it just happened. Probably at the end of the day. Worked all day, worked all this time out here, never had an issue. And now at the very end, I finally get a flat tire. Thought I was doing good, so I don't know. I'll have to see if I can air it up. All right, I got the loader up on top. I'm gonna do 2 chains and then probably a couple straps on this. What you want to do to make sure these chains get tight is, number one, I took the pressure out, or put some pressure on it, I mean, took the slack out with the loader, but then you take and you hook into the chain directly down to the rail. And then on the next chain, we'll hook it from chain to chain. There we go. This chain here is not tight. It's just mainly for like emergency. Basically just so this can't really go anywhere too wild or crazy. Obviously that's all looped around. It can't come undone. Then I got a strap here on this one. I got 2 tight chains in the middle and then another strap. I meant to grab one more chain so I could put 3 chains on it, but I completely forgot to grab my other long chain. But this will be good here. I mean, those 2 chains would hold it no problem. It's hanging off the passenger side quite a bit, but the driver's side is only hanging off a tiny bit. It's technically a little bit too wide, but we're just going to take the dirt roads in with this one. I think I got about 35 pounds in this back tire now, so I don't know why it was so low. I mean, it's possible that it was just a little bit low already and I didn't notice it, and then when the temperature dropped, it went ahead and went down a little bit more. We made it. Got it all unchained. All the chains and straps are still tight, except for the front one. I did put a boomer on that front one. I went ahead and snapped it down before I left. I didn't make it super tight, just made it better than what it was at least. But everything rode just fine. Well, that's exactly something my dad would do. Just drop a car right in the middle of the road. He is bad about that. I mean, just right smack dab in the middle of the road. A million other places he could have put it, and that's where he chose to put it. Oh well. He's been doing that for 30 or 40 years. He ain't gonna stop now. There we go. Building number 3. I wish I would have folded all 3 of them up like I did this one. Boy, this thing just folded right up, no problem. Looks a whole lot better than the other 2 did. It'll be a whole lot easier to get it in the crusher. I'll just kind of fold this end over onto this end, or vice versa, whichever works better. And it'll fit right in the crusher. Crush it once, flip it on its side, crush it again, take it out, put it on a car. Those first 2, I kind of butchered those, but by the end of it, I had it figured out, so I guess I'll know for the future. Oh, I forgot my lid was open. That means, yeah, I lost my pin that holds it. That's great. Oh well, I'll have to find something else to put in there. Back out on the farm, Skylar's gonna come out here one more time. I'm gonna throw another load on the trailer. This is all keeper stuff here, like I was saying in previous videos. I could fit it all in one load, but man, having that second trailer is gonna make life a whole lot easier. Gather all this up, I'll park the loader over here by the tree, stash a key in it, and we are done with this farm cleanup. Boy, this has been a long one. That was pretty funny. Those skunks, there's actually 2 skunks. I don't think I caught the first one on camera. I might have. I'll have to see when I edit the footage. But I know I caught the second one on camera though. It took off running for this drain pipe over here, and it was Skylar was in between that pipe and the skunk, and so he had to get out of the way. Yeah, it's looking pretty barren out here. All that's left in here that I'm grabbing now is this horse trough with a bunch of just random keeper stuff in it. Like I was saying, there's a handful more stuff. There's a little bit of stuff in that building back there that I forgot about. There's a little bit of stuff inside this little pin right here, but I didn't know what went, and I know they were wanting to keep some of that stuff, so I just left it all. There's a little bit more scrap inside the building, but I mean, it's all so hard to tell what goes and what doesn't without somebody standing right beside you, and I'd hate to chuck something in the scrap that didn't go. They said it wouldn't be a big deal and nobody would get upset if I did, but I'd rather not do that. And there's a little bit of stuff scattered around still. I could probably well, I'd be pushing it to fill one more dumpster. Probably could fill half of another dumpster, maybe 2/3, but there wouldn't be enough to fill one more dumpster out of here. I think this is my longest farm cleanup I've done since I started on YouTube. That first farm cleanup I did on YouTube where I filmed a few little bits and pieces, that one only took probably 2 weeks or so, and then there was that big one that had all those Buicks and I forget what else was there. I think a bunch of Internationals, and that one probably took about a month and a half or so. This one here, it's been about I'd say about 2.5 months, maybe 2 months, but I think about 2.5 months is how long it took to get this one done. But part of that is when we started this farm cleanup was when I was running the entire business by myself, and my dad was still pretty injured from his fall, and he wasn't able to help with anything. And so I was running the entire business back home. I was running my business of vintage cars, I was running YouTube by myself, and I was trying to do this farm cleanup all at the same time with no help at that point. And so there would be times where I would only come out here for an hour here and an hour there, and it takes a long time to get a big job like this done when you're barely working on it. I just realized I forgot to shut the goat gate. I'll have to go back over there here in a second and get that. But yeah, it took a long time. If I could have just come out here and did this job, you know, for at least 3 days a week, maybe 4 days a week, I probably could have knocked it out in less than a month. Or I know I could have knocked it out in less than a month. Plus, also, I forgot about that. We did get that great big torrential rain every day for like a week that flooded it out here to where I didn't even come out here for almost 2 weeks. And even when I did come out here, I didn't do a whole lot just because it was so muddy. I couldn't go to half the places out here. But we're getting it done now. Load this last little bit of stuff up. I'm not sure what I'm going to put on whose trailer. I'll probably put this on my trailer just because it's so wide and he's got fenders. I don't have fenders, so I'll just put it on mine, I guess. I guess the hog feeder can go on his trailer. That'd be a good place for it. There we go. Made it worth my drive back over here. Went ahead and grabbed all those iron wheels. I'll see if Skylar wants any of them. If he doesn't want them, I'll just probably pack the rest of them in the iron box. Plus these 2 deals here, pretty heavy. I'll dump those in the iron box too. Pay for my fuel and time to run back over here and close that gate. It's always bittersweet finishing the job, closing the gate for the last time. Feels good to have it done, but at the same time, it's kind of sad. I enjoyed coming out here doing this. I love doing farm cleanups. I wish they made more money. If they made more money, I'd do them full time. I wouldn't do anything else. But like I've mentioned before in previous videos, farm cleanups are probably the least profitable thing that we do. Half of what we make off of this job goes to the owner of the property, and then we got to pay for fuel, plus the cost of bringing the loader out here, taking it back home. Evidently, I'm going to have to get a tire fixed, which it hasn't leaked down anymore, so it must be a really small hole, but that's probably still going to cost a couple $100. Unless I can find it and plug it, and then I can do it for pretty cheap. But I have spent a boatload on diesel on this thing. I'd say probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $600 or so, I'm guessing. I've gone through probably $100 worth of propane, oxygen, and Sawzall blades. So it all adds up. People say, well, why do you pay so much for this stuff? Why don't they pay you to clean it up? And it's a very competitive market. And so if we don't do it, there's probably 20 other guys in this area that would gladly come in here and do it for half. That's just the going rate. And we made it back, got everything unloaded. I backed the trailer all the way up in here. This feels weird, backing it all the way in here. The main road is all the way out there. But I was thinking about it, and I don't know of any reason why I'm going to need this trailer for probably a month or so. So there's no reason to have it sitting around in the way. It seems weird. I've been using this trailer a ton for the last, 2 months. I had all that heavy steel I had to haul out of that factory. I had a bunch of other stuff I had to haul that I never filmed. Been hauling stuff off this farm. I just been using this thing like crazy. But now, like I say, I don't really see a reason to use it. Next week I do have to go pick up a truck, but it's just one truck, so I'm just going to take my little trailer for it. Okay, I got everything unhooked. I'm hoping the legs work. The other day they didn't work. I had an air bubble in the system. Okay, they're working. Good to go. All right, there we go. I'm going to pull over and hook up the small trailer now. I'm going to need that tomorrow. And do stay tuned. This video is not over yet. We still have to crush those buildings in the crusher. I'm planning on doing that in the morning. As long as everything goes to plan. That's the plan anyway. Sometimes plans don't always work out for me. But as long as nothing catastrophic happens, we'll get at least one of those buildings crushed so you can see how it works out. There we go. Got them all turned into pancakes. They crushed down pretty good. These two here, I was going to crush them together, but that would just make a really awkward bundle. I'd rather crush with two cars. Really what I'd like to do, I guess, let me back up and say this the way I want to say it, is I'd like to crush a car, then a building, then another car. This bundle here was already half done though. I just was going to put one more car on it, but I just went ahead and put that building up on top, and that'll work. That'll be fine there. I just feel like the bundle would crush a little bit better if I put the building in the middle. So next time I'm out here crushing, I'll go ahead and crush a car, put a building, crush a car. That'll be a good bundle. Too many B words. I'm getting them all mixed up in my head. Plus it's chilly out here. But yeah, the crusher bottomed out. The crusher would crush these flatter. I mean, you can kind of see this one here. It's how it's, it's maybe a foot thick now. At this end here, this is about 6 inches or so, 8 inches or so. Down there, it's maybe a little over a foot thick. So, I mean, it crushes them pretty flat. Remember, these are great big, tall buildings, 17 feet wide, and however tall they were, I don't remember now. And now it's about 16 feet long, and I don't know what, 5 feet wide, if that, probably more like 4 feet wide, and a foot thick on average. So they crunch down quite a ways. And so both of these, when I put them in between cars, they'll crush down to less than half of what they are now. All the time, people are giving me a hard time, especially people from other countries like the UK and elsewhere in Europe where they use a lot of balers. And they're like, that's not a crusher, that's a squasher. But in America, crush and squash basically mean the same thing. And so these crushers are designed to crush stuff to a certain point, and they're not made to go all the way down, because if they went all the way down, they would just splatter everything and it would just make a giant mess. They're made to compress things together. They're not really made to crush one item at a time. They're made to crush, 3 or 4 cars at a time. And yeah, if you drop this stuff in a cuber or a baler or whatever you want to call them, it would crush these things way, way down into little blocks. But then you have to have a claw to pick them up and move them around, which I don't have a claw. And, a new claw, a material handler, is about $500,000, whereas you can buy a brand new loader for $200,000. So it's a whole lot cheaper to buy a loader and a crusher than it is a baler and a material handler. And at the end of the day, the trucks can only haul so much weight anyway, and so I already load the trucks to capacity, so having a baler wouldn't do me any good. I've explained that before, but I haven't explained it for a while, so I thought I would throw that out there real quick. The reason why a lot of places use balers is because if you get a lot of loose material, balers are handy. Or if you're doing just bare bodies, more B words, but if you're doing bare bodies, you have to, it's just better if you can compress them down, especially if you're running, what do they call trucks in the UK? Lorries, is that what they're called? I don't know, I've never been there, I don't really know. But here we've got big rigs that are way bigger than what they run there, and so they're kind of restricted on space, and so if they can get the cars smaller, that's better for them. I've run a baler before, and we cleaned up a place one time that just had acres of appliances and tin, and so we hired a guy with a baler to come in there, and they're pretty cool how they work. That was way before my YouTube days, and for that, boy, that was fantastic. But when you're crushing big farm equipment and big grain trucks and stuff like that, a baler doesn't do you any good. We've been doing this for almost 40 years, so I think we kind of have it figured out what we're doing. But here's all the cars I have to crush. I'm probably going to make a crushing video probably next week. Come through here and start smashing all these. These cars are all processed 100% except for the aluminum wheels. All the fluids are drained, the converters are gone, the batteries are gone. I didn't pull the wheels off though, because my dumpster, I haven't had the big dumpster for putting wheels in like I usually do, and I don't want to have to move them all twice. We've been shipping out dumpster loads of these bolts down here. We've shipped in 2 dumpsters so far, and I think one was 30,000, one was 32,000 pounds. This one here is going to be a little bit lighter. I'm guessing it's going to be probably more like 25 or 26,000 pounds. But we did put a bunch of these big pumps in there. There's a few more pumps over there that my helper was, I don't know where he's at. He was supposed to be here today. He was going to pull those apart so we could finish loading this and get it out of here. But I have a bunch of stuff I got to do at the other yard now. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and tell them that it's full. And it'll be a little bit lighter, and all those rest of those pumps, I won't have enough for another dumpster, so I guess I'll just go ahead and throw those in cars or whatever. It's only $10 a ton difference between cars and prepared, but I need to get that dumpster emptied tomorrow. That way next week I can come out here and I can just start crushing cars, and I have a big dumpster to put the wheels in. But they're also talking like 6 inches of snow, maybe raining ice, and some pretty bad weather coming in this weekend. So I'd really like to get the dumpster swapped out now, because if it does all that, they won't come over here and swap that dumpster out at all. I'll call them in a minute, but what I got to do now is I got a guy on the way to pick this truck up. He's trading me an old Packard for it, so I got to get out to the other yard. But the farm cleanup is done. The loader is back at the yard in South Hutch. I haven't worked there since February or March or something like that. It's been a long time since I worked there. That's where the burnt crusher used to be. And you guys know we sold the burnt crusher towards the beginning of 24. And then we bought the new crusher and it went out to my place. I used it out there for several months and then we took it back to the other yard, but I've never run that crusher since. And so I got to work out here and at my place for a little bit, but then here probably in a couple weeks or so, I plan on going back to that other yard and crushing a bunch of cars out there. I got one more farm cleanup, big farm cleanup I got to do and a couple small ones, but I don't have to do those for a couple months. So I'm going to take a break from those for just a little while. I'm not sure how much weight we got total out of this farm cleanup. I'll probably put something about that on Facebook or on Instagram, somewhere like that. So if you want to know what the total amount ended up being, you're just going to want to check on there. We shipped in 11 dumpsters of scrap and then all the stuff that I hauled home on the trailer. So with 11 dumpsters plus all the stuff I hauled home and counting the trucks that I saved and all the stuff that I kept, that square rail, I mean, if you just figured it's pure weight, probably somewhere around 200 and 220,000 pounds, somewhere in that area. I'm just guessing, I could be way off. But actual scrap, I'd say probably 150,000 pounds. Just guessing. That's about 75 tons. Anyway, this farm cleanup was a ton of fun. It was kind of stressful in the beginning when I was running the entire business by myself before my dad was back able to do some stuff. That's why it just took so long. But then towards the end, once he was able to start helping more, it got much less stressful. And I actually had a ton of fun. Cleaning out that building was just, I had a blast doing that, knocking these buildings over and all that stuff at the end there. I had a ton of fun doing. Looking forward to the next farm cleanup. Going to do it totally different. My goal is to have help. That way we can just get in there, knock it out, get it done fast. There's probably at least that much stuff there, if not more. It's just in a smaller area. It's kind of condensed. So I think we can get in there, knock it out pretty good, as long as the weather cooperates. But like I say, we're not going to even mess with that for a month, maybe 2 months. I'm ready to get back to crushing cars full time again. And so I'm going to close this one out. I hope you guys have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. And remember to get out there, find yourself an adventure. Maybe you can find an old farm or something to explore. We'll see you on the next one.